of 80.
Right.
And if you get an 80 in anything, you have elite skill. Jorge Mateo is an 80 in speed. That's how fast this kid is. But the problem that I have with minor leaguers, because there are a few minor leaguers who are 80 speed, most of them can't hit. And as they say, you can't steal first. So
that's true.
That's the big. I mean, that's been the problem for Billy Hamilton in Cincinnati. He's a kid who is as fast as anybody who's ever played the game, but he's a 240 hitter at best. And he can get on base. He can steal second and third, but getting on base, that's always been his issue.
Well, that was what made Ricky Henderson. He could get on base.
Right. Ricky was that.
Wasn't
a 300 hitter.
Wasn't the strongest hitter. He was a 300 hitter, but he wasn't the power hitter.
Later in his career he was. He bulked up and still managed to keep his speed. So he liked to hit those leadoff home runs. Yeah. That was Ricky's big thing. Like the first at bat of the game when he came up, he wasn't looking to hit a single or bunt or anything. He was looking to go yard. Because that was Ricky's stat, was leadoff home runs.
Well, Ricky's hammy, depending on his hammy.
But Mateo was a guy who went from being one of the Yankees' top prospects to being a guy who was blocked, didn't have a clear future with the Yankees. So he's one guy they gave up. Dustin Fowler, who we talked about a month or so ago, the prospect who the Yankees called up, and in his first game, ruptured his patella tendon in Chicago when he crashed into the wall in foul territory in Chicago. Never even gotten a bat. I mean, so many Moonlight Graham comments the next day, but he was ranked number 4 by MLB.com in the Yankees prospect list. So he was actually the best prospect, or regarded as the best prospect the Yankees gave up. And then James Caprillion, who was their number 1 pick a couple of years ago, but the kid's had arm trouble. They talk about him as a future ace, but he had shoulder issues. Then it was an elbow issue. He just had Tommy John surgery, so he's not going to even pitch until mid-season next year. And Fowler is the same thing. He's out. He's going to have to rehab for a long time after his patella tendon surgery. That's a year of an injury, so he's not going to be back until middle of next year either. Now, if all 3 of these guys live up to their potential and what people, I mean, baseball people, and if you talk to people who follow prospects, all of these guys should be major leaguers, and not fringe major, like good major leaguers. But there have been a lot of guys who should be good major leaguers who turn out to be not so good. So if all of these guys live up to their potential, then eventually Oakland will win this trade. But for right now, they took on some question marks and gave up a guy who still has 2 more years of control. Sonny Gray is going to go to arbitration after this season. He'll go to arbitration after next season. But the Yankees have this kid for another 2 years. So that was the appeal from the Yankee standpoint, and that's why they gave up some of the guys they gave up. It's not like he's a rental. It's not like when the season ends, Sonny Gray is going to sign, declare free agency, and he'll be gone. It's, hey, Sonny Gray's a Yankee for at least the next 2 years.
Not a bad thing.
And he's a guy who, behind Severino, he's a hell of a number 2 to have.
We're going to take a break right now. You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC, streaming on the iHeartRadio app. Hope you're listening to us on one of those places. And also, if you missed the show or want to listen to it again or whatever, it's always available on Spreaker.com about 12 to 24 hours after the show, depending on when we get it on. But it's usually there. Spreaker.com, do a search of From the Press Box and see some of our interviews or hear some of our interviews. We'll be back right after this, 516-572-7440 if you'd like to make a contribution.
Oh, this has been such a hard week for me.
Why?
Well, I had this huge test that I didn't study for. I was fired from my job, and my mom is driving me nuts.
I hear ya.
How can I just forget about all of my problems?
Join the club.
Wait, are you listening to my conversation?
Yeah, sorry. Let me introduce myself. I'm DJ Rocky C, and by club, I meant club music.
I'm so confused. There are no clubs around here.
No problem. All you have to do is listen to my show, The Kickstart, featuring the best hits in dance music. Funny floor. The club is never far, since now it comes to you. But there's also classic dance hits.
Girl, our house house you. Girl, I'll house you.
The only thing you have to do is kick back and turn on your radio. The Kickstart, bringing the 212 straight to you. Wednesday nights at 9 on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Awesome. I'm gonna dance while I listen.
Please, don't.
Hey, have you seen DJ Solero?
No, why?
Well, he was supposed to be here right now to tell everyone about his show, The Rare Groove Session, but I can't find him anywhere.
I'll keep my eyes peeled. Maybe he went to get something to eat.
Food? He went to get food? I mean, who can eat at a time like this?
Relax. I'm sure everyone will figure out when they can listen to the most incredible music from the 60s and 70s that they may have not heard before.
But what if they can't? What if they never figure out when the Rare Groove Session is on? What happens then, huh? I don't want to live in a world where no one knows about the Rare Groove Session.
Hey guys, ready to tell everyone about RGS?
DJ Solero, where the have you been?
I was getting something to eat.
How can you eat at a time like this?
What are you talking about?
Don't mind her. Go ahead. Tell everyone when to listen.
Okay then, if you're looking to hear some mind-blowing music, check out the Rare Groove Session Friday nights at midnight on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Look over there! I think... Is that a bird?
No, I think it's a plane.
Yeah, you're right. It's pulling a banner.
The brighter side.
Hi, I'm Sarah Albertson, host of The Brighter Side, a show showing a brighter side of the world. Weekly guests who are sharing their stories in hopes of moving and inspiring others to do good in our world. The brighter it is, the better.
I want to experience the brighter side.
Listen Wednesday afternoons at 4 and Sunday nights at 11:30 on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Bring on the positivity.
Welcome back to From the Press Box here every Monday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard.
Yes, I am.
Quickly, before we get to the Knicks, the Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame,
yes,
because there is a difference, happened on Saturday. A whole bunch of people were inducted, including former Jets LaDainian Tomlinson, and Jason Taylor, along with Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys. Not sure. Well, I guess, owners get in eventually, no matter what.
Well, not no matter what, but...
Well, if you're around like Jerry Jones, he's been around for 25 years.
Been around a long time. How about that about a week after Bud Selig gets inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Jerry Jones goes into the Football Hall of Fame?
Two less liked people than I mean...
There aren't really too many less liked people out there who made the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I haven't seen, the new Cowboy Stadium, or I don't know if it has a corporate name. But from what I heard, it's just a monstrosity of...
I think it's AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, I think it's not Cowboy Stadium anymore anyway. But one of the players who was inducted... Well, first of all, we should say that Joe Klecko is still not in the Hall of Fame.
True.
Which
is ridiculous.
Out of all of that team, the sack exchange, Klecko actually... I don't want to say he was the most talented, but he was the most energetic. He was there when you need him.
Well, I would say Gastineau was the most energetic, but that's not necessarily positive energy. To me, Klecko was the hardest working guy. He was the grittiest guy. He was definitely the biggest effort guy.
I like Marty Lyons a lot.
Gastineau
I'm not sure if he's a Hall of Famer, but
probably not. But Gastineau was energetic, but it wasn't. It was like
Well,
five cans of Red Bull energetic.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a good energy all the time.
He had his moment. I mean, that was a great time for the Jets and Jet fans. But one person you did cover in your lifetime was Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner made the Hall of Fame.
Kurt Warner made the Hall of Fame.
How about that?
And he started out as an arena football guy, which you were, the dean of Arena Football League writers for a while. What do you remember? You've interviewed Kurt Warner. What do you remember about?
The Arena Football League actually does have a Hall of Fame.
I know,
and I'm still a little
we're working on that,
miffed that there is not a writers' wing in their Hall of Fame.
We're working on having the commissioner on. So.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that. But Kurt Warner was a member of the Iowa Barnstormers, and Rob and I were just talking off the air about a playoff game that I went to involving the Albany Firebirds at the Iowa Barnstormers. Right. And we were actually in the Midwest because our cousin Tommy was getting married. and I actually wound up leaving not long after the ceremony. It was over to drive about 3 hours to go to Iowa. But Kurt Warner played in that game, and when I got there, it was already 14-0. The game was basically over when I got there. But Kurt Warner was a guy who kind of contributed, helped a little bit with the column that I wrote about I wrote a weekly notes column about the Arena Football League and spoke to him a few times over the phone, and was always just very accommodating, good guy. Never had this attitude about like, what am I doing in this league? He was just happy to be playing football.
Yeah, because
but his formula for success was when he got to the Rams wanted to play an open game. And basically, and I told people this, and nobody ever listened to me back then, but what the Rams did then was more or less play arena football on grass on an NFL field. And Kurt Warner was the perfect guy for that because Kurt Warner was used to just throwing the ball and going up top, going downfield. Hey, let's throw, let's go for it all. And that was a style of play that he developed by playing in the Arena Football League. And that was why he had success in the NFL, because when he got to the Rams, they didn't want him to change his style. They wanted him to play arena football. And he was one of the best guys in the league. I mean, I said between Kurt Warner and Mike Perez, who actually was drafted by the Giants many years ago, those guys were by far the two best quarterbacks in that league, as far as being able to throw the ball anyway.
Sure.
So, Kurt Warner, I'm happy to see him in the Hall of Fame. Happy that I have a little bit of connection.
As an NFL player, though? I mean, did he have? I mean, I know he won the Super Bowl.
Kurt Warner had great seasons in the NFL.
I wasn't sure if there was enough great seasons.
Oh well, I mean, I think
to be the Hall of Famer.
I think when you win a Super Bowl, or did he win? No, I don't think he won a Super Bowl. Did he?
No, he did.
No, he did win a Super Bowl. That's right. But when you win a Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure he won an MVP award too. I didn't do any research on this at all. But he was a guy who had an immediate impact when he got to the league, and when you do that, you get to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was an elite quarterback pretty much from day one. So it wasn't like a lot of guys who get drafted and they wind up having to sit, or they struggle for the first year or two because, let's face it, the best quarterbacks tend to get drafted by the worst teams, so they have to suffer for a couple years because the team around them isn't very good either. Jared Goff with the Philadelphia Eagles is a good example of that. I mean, here's a kid who was drafted number one and wasn't very good last year, because part of the reason was because he got nobody to throw to and his line was pretty bad. So people like that, it tends to take a year or two. Kurt Warner came in and was successful right away because, again, he was throwing the ball, and that was what he did and did well. And he threw the ball downfield. They had receivers for him to throw to. They had a pretty talented offensive line. He was ready to just be dropped into that system and execute the system the way they wanted it executed. What did you find out over there?
Well, he played for the Barnstormers 95-97. He was on the World League of American Football, Amsterdam Admirals.
Yes.
And then
that terrible league.
Yeah. Then you had the Rams from 98 to 2003. We forget he was a Giant on 2004.
Yeah. That was right when Eli came into the league.
Right. Didn't he step back when
Eli, I think, took the job from him, and Warner, I remember him saying something to the effect of, "Look, I'm not done yet." And then where did he go after the Giants? I don't even remember.
Arizona.
Yeah, and he had a few good years for Arizona too.
Yeah. So it says here, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro, 2-time NFL Most Valuable Player.
2-time.
I didn't know that.
Sounds like a Hall of Famer to me.
Passing yard leaders in 2001. Cardinals ring
only 2001?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Cardinals Ring of Honor. Wow.
Yeah. And that's the Cardinals. That's the team. What did he play? 3-4 seasons for them?
4, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he
was an impact guy.
You know who needs a Ring of Honor? The Jets and the
Jets have one.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they do.
Well, you don't even notice it. It's not like the Cowboys. The Cowboys make a big deal out of it. The Jets.
Well, the Jets do too, but you got to pay attention.
Anyway, so one thing the story I like about him, when his first date with his wife,
Kurt Warner.
Yeah, you ever heard the story?
Tell it.
If I'm not mistaken,
I don't remember.
First date with his wife, he goes to pick her up, and something happened with the kid. The babysitter wasn't there, or,
Right.
or something like that. So on the first